Hi, I'm Malika Gardner for The Leak, www.theleak, and I want to thank you all for joining us today. I am very, very happy to have with us today for a very in-depth interview is the artist Omen. He is a respected artist around the world. He's worked with some amazing artists, and they have a great deal of respect for him, such as J. Cole, Drake, Common. He shared the stage with these men. He's worked with them, and he's an amazing producer himself. And Omen, I've been listening to your music, and you truly represent the Chicago sound. You're born and raised in Chicago. You have that jazzy, laid-back feel, and it just feels good. You know, the lyrics aren't attacking me. you know,
Yeah.
you know, it's just amazing. It's gosh, it kind of reminds me of a Tribe Called Quest back in the
Okay.
day a little bit, with a touch of Common. But I
Yeah.
truly feel like you are just phenomenal. I mean, you've toured Europe with some amazing artists, and my hat's off to you. You're just phenomenal, and we're proud of you here in Chicago. Very, very proud of you.
Well, thank you very much. Those are some really kind words, especially the Tribe Called Quest reference. You know, that were I kind of grew up. They were like before my time, but my uncle was the DJ, so he put me onto their music, and so I was really influenced by them. So that's a huge compliment.
Wow, yes, yes. We're, my generation, I'm a little older than you.
Okay.
Uh, we love that you have respect for real artists
Yeah,
from
for sure.
our group, because I talk to some younger people and they're like, who? So your music does show that you give homage and respect to those before you. So it's
Definitely.
great. So if any of you haven't heard Omen's music, definitely check it out because he's amazing. And you were featured on one of J. Cole's albums, and I was like, look at him, he's just doing it. And I mean, you're an indie artist, and you've traveled the world with these men. So, I mean, how did you make that happen?
Well, with J. Cole's a little different. I've known J. Cole since he was 15, so we've had a long just friendship and musical business relationship as well for a long time. And so we had always been working together. And then once he got signed to Rock Nation, we just continued working. And so when he went on his tours, he just brought me along, and I was able to perform some of the songs we have together. In so many different places in Europe, so many different places in the States. I've been on maybe 3 or 4 tours with him now, and he's featured. We've got maybe 6 or 7 songs together we've done. So it's been a big blessing. That's how I encountered Drake as well. We toured with Drake. We did a tour with Rihanna, and like you said, Common. That's the most recent. I just met him. I had met him before, but I just got a chance to really speak with him this time. Just tell him how much he had influenced me, as an artist, because it was somebody from Chicago, from the south side of Chicago, who was speaking about things that I was going through. And his style of rap was very similar to me personality-wise. Chicago's it can be very, like, flamboyant and loud and boisterous and, like, cocky and, the Chi-Town, like, swagger. And I've always been laid back. So it was like someone else to identify with, a different side of Chicago. And so, I don't know, it's been a long journey, but it's been going well.
Okay, well, congratulations to you. And you talked about, Chicago, some things, how we move and groove here in Chicago. And, it's no secret, it's a lot of violence happening here. Actually, I just saw an interview with Common where he was talking about coming back and doing some things. So I definitely want to talk to you about that, being born and raised in Chicago. What do you think it is that we need to do here? But one of the hottest topics right now happening in entertainment is our good friend Cee Lo, another respected artist who I've been listening to for years, and I was really shocked by his comments on Twitter. What's your take on? Because for me, what he was saying, for those of you who don't know, Cee Lo was he was charged with a felony of possession of ecstasy, where a young lady that he had had a dinner date with claimed that she was drugged and she didn't remember how she ended up laying next to him the next day. And she pretty much was claiming rape. And he, said no contest to the charge, but he did receive community service. And after his court date, he got on Twitter and said that it wasn't rape because she was unconscious and doesn't remember. And if you don't remember, then it's not rape. So that, that was pretty serious. He did apologize and he removed the tweets, but it was almost like a rap lyric come to life.
Right.
For many of us that were listening. What's your take on that? I mean, with the lyrics, because you don't write lyrics like that.
Yeah.
And Cee Lo didn't write lyrics like that. So it was just,
I think it's an unfortunate situation. I just hearing you, I knew some of the story, but I didn't know. I thought his tweets were directed like in general. I didn't know they were in response to his specific case. So that changes a little bit, but just in general, I hate to hear something like that because, like you said, Cee Lo's a really respected artist. I've listened to his music. He's inspired me a lot just through his writing. And so I really I hope that it's not true. I hope that she has not been raped. I hope that he doesn't hold those views. I saw him say that his tweets have been taken out of context, which is possible. Twitter does not allow you to really expound on things. It's just kind of like anecdotes. And so things can be taken out of context. In this situation, it seems hard to think that the context could be any different than what it seems to be. But I just hope that it is, I hope that it is a situation where she was not raped, first of all. And two, that, if he does feel that way, he's apologetic now and he understands, why that's not okay. And I just really hope the best for, definitely for her in this situation and for him as well, that it just works out to the best solution, which is that she was not raped and that there's just some misunderstanding, and that, his Twitter comments were just a mistake in judgment. But it's just unfortunate,
Yes, it is. I'm hoping it was just a mistake in judgment.
Right.
Another hot topic that's been going on around the industry, which kind of ties in maybe a little, is the Nicki Minaj Anaconda video. Now, a lot of women actually are pumping their fists that she's doing what she wants to do and it's amazing, but then you have a lot of women who are like, but she's putting it out there for bad judgment calls by some men, to take her being so provocative. What's your take? And she's a very respected lyricist. I mean, she's won awards for her writing skills. She's a strong, amazing artist in this industry. What's your take on that? Do you believe a woman with so much talent and strength and power, do you think she needs to do a video like that? Or, I mean, what did you think of the Anaconda video?
I mean, I felt mixed feelings about it. As a guy, it's attractive to, in a physical sense. Like, you see a woman dancing around in a sexually suggestive way.
Of course.
But then my other side is like, well, it just depends on what you're expecting to get from. I wouldn't want my wife to be doing that. I wouldn't want my girlfriend to necessarily do it. But she's not my girlfriend or my wife, so I'm not looking at her in that way. But I see it from a few different angles. I never want to be the person to tell an artist what they need to do or should be doing. I don't believe in, telling an artist what they can do. I think it's more so an industry issue. We need more balance. I think it's because we had Madonna, who was very sexually suggestive, but you also had other artists that could balance the playing field. So these young girls, and before we had Little Kim, but we also had Lauryn Hill. You know, they were able to see both sides of. They were able to have a choice or an option of someone to look up to say, I want to be like that, or I want to be like this, or I want to be a combination. You know, whereas now all you have is Nicki Minaj, and so this is all they're seeing is that example. All they see is the reality show women. They see the same type of woman, and they see that woman getting attention from what she's doing, and so they mimic it. You know, and they think that that's what they need to do to get a guy to like them, and that's the unfortunate part of it to me. And that's not Nicki Minaj's fault. That's the industry issue that we need to present more female artists with, you know, varying perspectives to show that, you know, this is not define women. You know, that defines one act or one side of a woman's personality, but that's not what a woman is necessarily in totality. You know, so I just think it's like an issue that we need to show more. You know, and that's not just with women; that's with artists in general. You know, we don't have much balance now with mainstream wise. Like on the internet, you can find, if you really dig, you can find, you know, different types of artists, different types of music, people who talk about things you're interested in, people that talk about partying as well as things that make you think, contemplative music, all of that's on the internet. But on the radio and on television, they're only presenting one side of the issue, and so it gets skewed to the public to make them think that this is what rap is, that this is what Black America is, that this is what women desire, or this is what men desire. So I think that's the real issue that should be addressed, is this the media and what we're actually giving a chance to mainstream wise.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. I was just sitting here thinking when you were saying there's only Nicki Minaj, and I'm sitting here wondering, what other female rap artists are there out here? And and I know she likes to be grouped with just call me a rap artist, don't say female. What
are some about in the past? You know, there was Lil Kim, there was Lauryn Hill, there was Queen Latifah, there was MC Light, there's Lady of Rage. There's so many different women to give like a varying perspective of like this is women, not just this. You know, like we don't have that now.
Right. Are there some female hip hop artists that we don't know about yet that are about to burst out the scene that you have a great deal of respect for, that you would like to see pushed out there to the mainstream?
There's some artists I like. There's one named Rhapsody. There's another. I'm forgetting her last name. It's Nicki. Oh man, that's gonna suck. It's Nicki something. But I think she's from New York. And you know, there are female artists who are actually good. They're just not getting the shine because the music has not been overly sexualized, or they haven't been showing their ass, or you know, they haven't been doing the things. They haven't been using sex to sell. And I don't even say that as a diss to Nicki. I think you use what you choose to use. You know, it's your prerogative. But because they haven't done that, and we're in a male-dominated industry, you know, whose intentions are to kind of sexualize you, that's why they haven't yet to be found or discovered by the mainstream. But I think they do exist. You know?
Yeah, it's a cold industry. The music industry is a very, very cold industry. I don't need to tell you that. I've been asked to come speak to children about the entertainment industry, and you know, there's a part of me that just doesn't want to encourage it, but there's another part of me that's like, there's some children who are born to perform. They are true artists, you know, and that's who they are. Right. And I mean, what do you tell kids? I mean, do you give them the real deal on the industry? You know, what it's really going to take, and just how cold it can be?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always a balance to me with what you say. I don't want to present it as me being bitter about the industry. So you just tell them everything negative about it. You know, I don't want to do that. So I try to give them a balanced view of it, to say, you know, if you really work hard and persevere, you have belief in what you're doing, anything's possible. And I don't say that as like a whimsical thing. Like, it's true. You can really, if you really believe in it and you work hard, you can do it. But there are going to be roadblocks. There are going to be things that, you know, piss you off. There are going to be things that are unfair. There are going to be compromises. There are going to be lots of things that you didn't expect to happen or expect to deal with in the industry because of whatever, because you're light-skinned, because you're a woman, because you're black, because you dress a certain way, because you speak a certain way, because of where you're from. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's going to be something. And so I just tell people to be ready to fail, be ready to persevere, be ready to get told no, be ready to cry, be ready to deal with all those different emotions. And it's really a blessing to me because by going through all those things, it lets you know if you really want it. Like, it lets you know if this is really something you want to do. Because I think with any dream you're chasing, it doesn't have to be music. You're going to face those things. You're going to face heartache and pain and all those things. But that lets you know if it's worth it to you. Because if it's just easy, it's just an easy ride, you take it for granted in a sense. But if you had to go through something and actually create a story, then it lets you know this is what you're meant to do. Because because if it was something else, you wouldn't have dealt with it. But because you love this, you're going to deal with everything that comes with it. And so I try to tell people that. I don't know if they get it all the time because you kind of have to just go through it yourself to get it. But I do understand what you mean, though, where sometimes you don't want to discourage them, but you want to lead them in a different direction. And I say that only because we have so many rappers and singers and entertainers, period, for black people, like because that's what we see. That's what we see as like on TV. We see entertainers, we see sports stars, we see singers, and we think that that's what we can be. We don't see. I could name you a black scientist, other than Neil. I forget his name, but he's a physicist. But I couldn't name you many black scientists or black lawyers, or I couldn't name these famous people outside of entertainment. And so I think we need more of that, more examples of that, for people to see that they could do other things. You don't even if you work in the music industry, you don't have to be. You could be a manager. You could be a road manager. You could do lighting. You could do all types of things that people don't see behind the scenes. You don't have to be a rapper, but if that's in your heart for real, and you really have a love for it, then by all means.
Definitely go for it. I know a part of me maybe, I just want to protect them because I know it's a beast, but it can be a rewarding beast too. So you just want to protect them. But yeah, I like that take on it. So I might have to borrow that when I go talk to the children. I like the way you put that. Now, what I had read that you were out there in Ferguson protesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That took some courage. You're going to have to take us from beginning to end on that experience because, the media sometimes gives you the raw and real, but sometimes the media can screw the truth,
Sure.
And I don't know if you watched that interview with Don Lemon and Talib. Did you watch that? Yeah. And, I was kind of taken back by Lemon because, he's such a great journalist, but, he wouldn't allow Talib to tell the story. I'm like, we want to know what's happening. He's going to tell us the truth. He's not going to sugarcoat anything or twist anything. He's going to tell us exactly what happened, and he wasn't able to give us that story. And so many things have come up since. I mean, a lot of people are saying, oh, the Ferguson issue is dying down, but no, it's not. I mean, police brutality is what it is. Yeah. And 2 new witnesses have come about, Caucasian witnesses who were afraid to speak up, but now they're speaking up, and they basically told the same story that Mike Brown's friend told,
Right.
And, such a devastating, just horrible story. So I wanted to hear, your take on what was happening out there in Ferguson and on police brutality.
Well, the way that happened was it was actually the day I did the show with Common and Nike. A friend of ours with Dreamville called me and he was like, J. Cole is going out to Ferguson just because he wants to be there. He wants to be with the people and speak with them. You know, it's not about any publicity. It's just to actually be there and be part of this, you know. And so anybody that wants to come, we're taking everybody who wants to come with Dreamville, which is like our collective. And so I was like, for sure. You know, I wanted to be, because, you know, in college, these were things, not that these things weren't passionate to me now, but I was like more militant in college. I was like, you know, marching and part of like project youth things in the community, and those were things that were important to me. And then, you know, later in life, you start worrying about your own life. You don't make time as much for trying to save the world. And so I was like, for sure. So anyway, we went down there, and as soon as we got there, it was about maybe 15 of us. But as soon as we got there, we went to the actual street, you know, where Mike Brown was shot, and it was incredible because, you know, we were speaking to people that lived in the houses, with the people who saw the shooting, you know, neighbors, people that knew Mike Brown, and they were just giving us, you know, their accounts of the situation. And this one guy that just, you know, he told us he saw it, and him explaining it in detail was just heartbreaking. You know, just him telling us how he got shot, you know, with his hands up, and it was just really disheartening to hear. And we all knew the story, but to see it, to be there and see where he died, and to hear the people's pain. You know, there was a guy out there saying his son saw it, and it's like, you know, his son is terrified to just walk down the street now, just out of fear, you know, for his life, his safety. And this is a little kid who's now traumatized by that. So, you know, it was hard to hear, but it was good to hear as well. You know, to hear like the real truth. And so, and then another thing is that I can't even say we were protesting. We were really down to just listening to the people, you know, because it meant so much to them just to see someone else outside of their community be there with them and listen to them. And especially someone on J. Cole's level, you know, they were just in awe to have him there in their presence, talking with them, just listening, because he wasn't really taking photos. He didn't let anybody know he was going. I didn't let anybody know I was going. So it was a really good experience. And then something else happened though later. So we went to, a friend of ours was arriving later to meet us because their flight was later than ours. So we were parked in like a Wendy's parking lot, waiting for them to arrive. And as we were sitting there, there's some cops that approached our vehicles, but they have like machine guns in their hand. And we're like, why did they have machine guns? So as they approached the vehicle I'm in, and the very first thing the cop asked me is, do you have any weapons on you? And I'm thinking, why would I have it? I mean, I said, why would I have any weapons? And I'm thinking, why is that the first thing you asked me? I mean, we're sitting in a Wendy's parking lot. We aren't doing anything. So his answer was, oh, well, we're just, you know, checking. We saw some cars sitting here, and we had to protect ourselves. And I'm thinking, well, protect yourselves from what? We're just sitting in a Wendy's parking lot. Why would we have a weapon? And, you know, later I thought about it. I feel like what he said was telling, because it's like he said, we have to protect ourselves. But you're out here to protect and serve us. What are you protecting yourself from? Like, you know, and so I think that, and I forgot to add this, as they're approaching the vehicle, there are cops in the background, like getting into position, like behind garbage cans with their guns. And we're just sitting in a car. Like, we have done nothing. And so, to me, that was like the most telling thing, because they're provoking people, you know? They're provoking people and trying to find any reason to use their toys, in a sense. Use these military weapons. And, you know, the whole time he's speaking to me, his officers are behind him with their hands on their machine guns. And that's like, you know, you're just trying to inflame the situation. Because, obviously, I'm going to take offense to you assuming I just have a weapon for no reason. You know, I'm going to take it as racial. I'm going to take it as profiling. I'm going to take it as unfair. So, you know, luckily, our friend arrived at the same moment, and we just kind of left. But it was just, to me, that was an example of what the people are going through down there. You know, if that could happen to us, and we're in two nice SUVs just sitting in a Wendy's parking lot, what's happening to the people that are out there with signs and out there with their fists up and telling the police it's unfair and really protesting? There's no telling what what they're not showing. And I heard from those people on the streets, the cops will come out at night because they know you can't release, the cameras can't catch much footage at nighttime. They can't see what they're actually doing, what they're saying to these people. And, they were just telling us that police brutality was nothing new there. And we know it's nothing new in this world, especially in the United States. So it's a sad thing to know that still exists. It's not that we didn't know, but it's just a reminder. I feel like every year or every 6 months we hear another case of something like this where, a black kid loses his life to the police, unarmed. And so, I'm not sure what the solution is because I feel like marching hasn't necessarily worked, and violence obviously does not work. So, it's one of those things where I know I personally try to actually think of what can I do, what can we do as people, or just amongst my friends. And I haven't come up with a solid solution, but I do know, and this is something we talked about within Dreamville, is that everything is based on economics. Everything is based on money in our society. And once you have power of economics, people change. They're forced to change. They're forced to treat you with respect. They're forced to do things. And so just in terms of, if you make it a black issue, we need to be more in control of our economics, in terms of having our things in our community, having our own stores, our own, police force, things that we can actually control, where we can at least bring people into the community that have our best interest at heart. So that's part of it. But, it's a complex issue that's tough.
Wow, that's a crazy story.
Yeah.
To be sitting in a Wendy's and all of a sudden machine guns are put on you, I would have had a heart attack. That is insane. Absolutely insane. I think so many people are trying to come together, trying to figure out what to do, what to do. And, when you have a lot of money, nothing is unpredictable. So the issues that are going on here in Chicago, your hometown of Chicago, a lot of people are criticizing those who have, really made it and have made millions and billions, that they're not, as Harriet Tubman said, they're not throwing the rope back. And so they're seeing all these children being slaughtered. And, let me just make this clear, because a lot of people don't really understand the severity that's going on here with the violence in Chicago. A lot of people just think it's just gangs shooting at each other. In actuality, it's gangs shooting innocent people. Innocent people approaching other kids to recruit them into a gang. And if the kid says no, then they face death themselves or a family member being killed as a result of them refusing. And then there's initiation, them killing innocent people. So it's not just innocent people getting caught in a crossfire. Back in my day when, I lost friends to gun violence, it was because they just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But they weren't targets. It was a gang member shooting another gang member, and someone just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But now it's so out of control where they are actually targeting innocent people. So, many people are criticizing those who do have the money to actually come back and maybe have an impact on these kids who have lost their way, and being controlled by some evil adults, evil forces. No one really knows what to do. No one really knows what to do, and no one's speaking, the code of silence. No one wants to, we're all videotaping all this insanity, other insanity that's going on in the world, but no one is, capturing these little kids being killed. other than artists coming back doing a benefit concert, which, you know, we don't think that's going to work. What do you think you guys can do? I know Common is talking about coming back and doing some things. What do you think we can do? I mean, it's got to be something that we're not touching.
You know, I have to be honest. I think it's good intentions for an artist to come to a benefit concert, but I don't think it actually does much. You know, I don't think these kids are going to that concert and saying, you know what, I'm gonna stop now. Like I don't think that's happening. You know,
Right.
and so I don't think that's necessarily a solution. I'm not even sure it's something an entertainer can solve, but I will
Right.
say, you know, this is an issue that's been happening a long time, and it's kind of hitting this boiling point. But I think it more so has to do with our neighborhoods. It's like this. I stayed on the south side of Chicago. I grew up in Hyde Park and Chatham. And Hyde Park was a little better. We had there was moms and pop shops. There was a sense of culture in Hyde Park when I was growing up. But in Chatham, when I would go outside, there was the playground and the liquor stores. There was not much, no amenities in the south side of Chicago. There's nothing to do. And so if you are already coming from a household where you may not have the best parents, you know, your parents may be not the most educated, they may be kids themselves raising you. They're gonna send you to the streets, and what's in the streets are those options: the playground and the liquor store. And if you're not interested in basketball or sports, then you're gonna find trouble because you don't have any other options really. You're just kind of lost outside. So I think I noticed this when I went to college, is that we had so many things to do. You know, there was a rec center where I could choose basketball or swimming or racquetball or ping pong, whatever. There was so many different things to do. There was a library. There was a hospital with free health care. There was, you know, restaurants galore, options, you know, not just McDonald's. There were actual activities to do on campus. And, you know, that's because that university knows if we want students to come here, we need these things. And so it's, in a sense, I feel like somebody, so an alderman or the mayor, somebody has to take that same standard and say, look, these neighborhoods need amenities for these kids to actually have something to do. Give them some options. You know, give them a rec center. Give them a library. There's not one bookstore on the south side of Chicago. Not one. And I know this because I used to work at a bookstore. It closed down. I used to work at Borders. It closed. There's a used bookstore and an African-American bookstore. But I can't get the book I really want at those bookstores. So that's a big issue to me, that there's not one bookstore on the entire south side of one of the third largest cities in the country. You know, and we wonder why these kids are just out here running wild. Well, we haven't given them much of a choice, and this is it's not excusing their behavior. But I do think if we want to actually talk about solutions, you know, what are we doing to provide them an alternative? You know, these neighborhoods have nothing. We have McDonald's and Burger King. I can't even choose to eat healthy in my community. I have to go outside of my community to eat healthy. You know, I have to go outside of my community to find a bookstore. I have to go outside of my community to go find a tennis court or find a rec center where it actually has swimming pools. And, you know, to me, that's an issue. And I'm not sure if that's just us demanding a better standard for our neighborhood, or if I'm not sure who's in charge of that. But I think that's part of the issue. I think that's a possible solution that's much better than a rapper or a singer saying, put the guns down. Because, you know, put the guns down and do what? That kid is like, okay, do what now? What alternative are you giving me? Go to school? I guess, yeah, that's fine. But we've all been kids before. School's not necessarily fun, you know. We want to stay. This is not a message to say don't go to school or don't attend school, but that's not being realistic. You know, telling the kid don't do that, just go to school and have fun. No, we all remember after school activities were the things we liked. You know, the extracurricular activities were the things we liked. So if they don't have any of that, we're not really putting them in the best position to succeed. You know, I think if we can at least, I'm not sure how it's done, but if we can find a way to do our part to put them in the best position, and then they're still doing crime, then there's some real accountability there. But I think we're all accountable in a sense of what's happening in the city.
Mm-hmm. So those who have made it and made a lot of money coming out of Chicago, you believe they need to come back and build options, build bookstores, build.
Possibly, I want to be careful with telling people how to spend their money and telling them what to do with their money, because it's your money that you've made, and you know you have your choice to do what you want with it. It would help. I'm not saying that they have to do it. You know, they just closed a bunch of schools and they're building stadiums here, so the city has money to do it if they like. An entertainer doesn't have to do it. Right. You know, the city has money to do it because if they have the money to build the north side and make it plush and have all these amenities, they have the same money for the south side. So I don't think it's necessarily an entertainer's responsibility. It would help, obviously, but I'm not going to put that burden on them. I put the burden on the city. You know?
Okay, so I like that. Yeah. I'm taking notes because I'll be speaking on that as well. I like that take. I like to get different perspectives on serious issues that are taken out there instead of just coming from my own. You learn a lot more that way. So I've learned some things from you today, Omen, and wish you the absolute best, much more success in your career. What do we have to look forward to?
I'm actually in the process now of putting out an album. It's called Elephant Eyes, and that should be out. I don't have the exact date soon, but it's very, very soon, like within the next month or so. So we're just putting the finishing touches on that. I'm really excited because I feel like, you know, obviously I'm going to think this, but I think it's my best work. I think it shows a lot of growth. And, you know, I just think it's me expressing the things that I care about, which I think in a sense, it's me doing my part to provide some balance to what's out there, you know, because some of the things that I express are a little different than what's expressed in the mainstream. And so, you know, I just say look out for that. You know, if you're looking for something new or refreshing, look out for Elephant Eyes. I'm really happy with the way it's turned out.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. For those of you who haven't heard any of Omen's music, you definitely got to look this man up because it's quality. Quality production, quality content. He's just an amazing artist. So thank you so much for your time today, Omen. I get the feeling it's going to get to a point where we won't be able to reach you at some point. Okay. But thank you so much for being so honest today and transparent. I love it. Absolutely love it. So thank you so much. Again, this is Malika Gardner with The Leak, and catch you all next time.